Drake booked a free consultation with a financial advisor. 12 minutes in, the advisor was already wrapping up, handed him a generic pamphlet and a link to check back in a few years. Daniel booked the same free consultation. He got coffee, a real financial plan, and a follow-up call scheduled for next month. Same advisor. Same firm. Same free service. One number was different, and it wasn't income. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how your 401k balance quietly changes how the financial industry treats you at 7 distinct stages, not just the vibe, but what you actually get access to, and what to do at your current stage to move up faster. This isn't a complaint video. Financial advisors, robo-platforms, and even employer HR departments allocate their limited time toward the accounts that are most profitable or most at risk of a costly mistake. And that tends to track with balance size. It's not fair in the abstract, but it is predictable, and predictable means you can plan around it. We're going to walk through this using the most recent published data from Vanguard's How America Saves report and Fidelity's retirement analysis. Before Tier 1 even starts, there's a decision almost everyone makes in their very first week on a new job, usually without realizing how much it matters. Roth 401k or traditional 401k contributions. A traditional 401k contribution reduces your taxable income today, you get the tax break now, and pay income tax on withdrawals in retirement. A Roth 401k contribution works the opposite way, no tax break today, but qualified withdrawals in retirement, including all the growth, come out completely tax-free. Drake picked whatever his onboarding paperwork defaulted to, without reading either option. Daniel thought about it for about 30 seconds. If you expect your tax rate to be similar or higher in retirement than it is right now, which is common earlier in a career, when income and tax brackets often have room to grow, a Roth 401k can make more sense. If you're in your peak earning years now and expect a meaningfully lower tax rate in retirement, traditional often wins. Some plans even let you split contributions between both, which sidesteps the guess entirely. This decision, before there's even a real balance to speak of, quietly compounds into thousands of dollars of difference over a career. And it costs nothing extra to make it deliberately instead of by default. Tier 1, $0 to $10,000. This is most people in their first 2 to 5 years of working. At this tier, you're invisible to human advisors. And that's actually fine, because you don't need one yet. You're auto-enrolled into a target date fund, you get an automated welcome email. And if you call the plan's 800 number, you'll talk to a call center rep reading from a script. Drake left his contribution at whatever his employer defaulted him to. In his case, 3%. He never matched what his employer would actually match. Daniel, on his first week, checked one thing: what percentage his employer matches. Then he set his own contribution to at least that percentage, because an employer match is money that disappears the moment you don't claim it. Tier 2, $10,000 to $50,000. This is usually 3 to 8 years into consistent saving. Here, you start qualifying for something: automated advice. Most large 401k providers unlock a robo-advisory tool or a basic online planning module around this range. Drake ignored the notification. He assumed it was a sales pitch. Daniel used it. It's free, it's already included in his plan's fees, and it caught that his allocation was too conservative for his age. A 5-minute check adjusted his growth for the next 20 years. Before we get to Tier 3, one thing matters at every single tier. From $0 to $1 million, the expense ratio of the funds inside your 401k. An expense ratio is the annual fee a fund charges, expressed as a percentage of your balance, taken automatically whether the fund goes up or down that year. A broad index fund might charge around 0.03%. An actively managed fund on the exact same plan menu might charge well over 1%. That difference sounds tiny stated as a percentage, but compounded over 30 years on a growing balance, it can quietly cost tens of thousands of dollars, not necessarily because the expensive fund performs worse, but because a fee comes out every single year regardless of performance, compounding against you the same way returns compound for you. Drake has never actually checked which specific funds his contributions are buying. Whatever the plan defaulted him into years ago, is still what he holds today. Daniel checks this once a year alongside his contribution rate because, unlike hoping for good returns, this is one of the only things in investing you can actually control directly. Tier 3. $50,000 to $150,000. According to Fidelity's most recent data, the overall average 401k balance across all participants sits at roughly $146,000, so this tier covers a huge share of savers, including the average American. This is where human attention starts showing up unprompted. Plan providers and outside advisory firms start sending complimentary portfolio review invitations because you're now a large enough account to justify the advisor's time. Daniel took the meeting. It cost him nothing, and the advisor caught that he was paying two separate expense ratios for functionally the same index exposure across two accounts. Tier 4, roughly $150,000 to $275,000. Vanguard's data shows this is close to the average balance for savers aged 55 to 64, people approaching retirement with a full career of contributions behind them. At this tier, the tone shifts again. You start getting invited to actual seminars, real retirement income planning sessions. Because the firm now has a genuine incentive to help you convert savings into a paycheck without running out. This is also the tier where catch-up contributions start mattering. If you're 50 or older, the 2026 catch-up limit lets you contribute an additional $8,000 beyond the standard limit, $11,250 instead, if you're 60 to 63. One important 2026 change. If your wages exceeded $150,000 the prior year, that catch-up amount must go in as Roth, after tax, not pre-tax. Tier 5, $275,000 up toward the $1 million mark. This is where you typically get a named point of contact, an actual person with a direct phone line who reviews your account without you asking. The financial products don't actually get better here. What changes is proactive attention. Someone is now checking on you before you have to ask. Tier 6, $1 million and up. This is genuinely rare. Most estimates put 401k millionaires at a small single-digit percentage of all savers, but it's the tier everyone eventually asks about. Here, some firms extend an invitation to their private wealth or premier division, access to a dedicated team, sometimes invitations to educational events, occasionally slightly better fee structures on managed accounts. But the underlying 401k tax rules, contribution limits, and withdrawal rules are identical to Tier 1. $1 million 401k doesn't get you a different tax code. It gets you better service on the same account. Here's a common assumption worth correcting directly. Does a bigger 401k balance mean access to better investments with higher returns than what's available to everyone else on the same plan? No. Inside a given employer's 401k, every participant, Tier 1 or Tier 6, chooses from the exact same fund menu, at the exact same expense ratios, with the exact same expected returns for a given fund. The $1 million balance in Tier 6 isn't invested in some superior fund unavailable to a Tier 1 saver on the same plan. What Tier 6 actually buys is service, someone checking on you, invitations to events. Sometimes a slightly lower fee on an external managed account if money moves outside the 401k entirely. It does not buy a different rate of return on the identical index fund every other tier can also select. This might be the most useful thing in this whole video for wherever you're starting. The fund performance available to you right now at whatever balance you have today is already identical to what a 401k millionaire on the same plan is using. What separates Tier 1 from Tier 6 is time and contribution rate, not access. 5 things move you up a tier faster than anything else, at any balance. 1. Capture the full employer match, every year without exception. That's the highest guaranteed return available in personal finance. 2. Increase your contribution rate by 1% every time you get a raise, before your spending adjusts to the new number. 3. Never cash out a 401k when changing jobs, roll it over. Cashing out early doesn't just cost the 10% penalty, it resets you back to Tier 1. 4. Check your expense ratios once a year. A fee saved is a return earned, guaranteed, regardless of what the market does. 5. If your plan offers both Roth and traditional contributions. Revisit which one actually fits your situation every few years as your income changes, instead of leaving your onboarding day default in place for an entire career. Tier 0. Pick Roth or traditional deliberately, not by default. Tier 1. Capture the match. Tier 2. Use the free robo-advice tool. Tier 3. Take the free portfolio review. Tier 4. Start using catch-up contributions and attend the seminar. Tier 5 and 6. Proactive attention, not better investments. The funds were always the same. And at every single tier, check your expense ratio, because that's the one lever under your control the whole way up. This video is for educational purposes only and is not personalized financial advice. Balanced tiers and treatment described here are general industry patterns, not a guarantee from any specific provider. Verify current 401k contribution limits, catch-up rules, and expense ratios at irs.gov and your plan provider before making decisions. If this helped you see your own number differently, subscribe. New videos every week on the personal finance topics school never covered. Next up, what actually happens at every dividend portfolio size, from your very first check to your first million.